everyone, this episode is sponsored by Fight Energy. Fight is your all-in-one go-to health drink. Fight is not only just an energy booster, it is a mood booster as well. So with your daily dose of vitamins, nootropics, 0 calories, it is your all-in-one health drink. I drink Fight every day. My clients drink it. Someone you probably know drinks it. And you guys, what I'm offering for as we get into 2025, we're doing a discount for 25% off your first order if you type in LYB. Okay, so we'll know that you came from the podcast, and that way we can make sure you get some Fight Energy and some other little goodies thrown in there too. So if you get a chance, we would love to know which team you are. Are you team strawberry? Are you team blueberry? Hey everyone, welcome to the LYB podcast. On today's episode, we have Collin Schoen. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we actually just met the other day, which was so cool because you've been talked about to me like for a while now because you know my friend Will, who's been on here as well, owner of Clean Eats, and then Gunner, of course. And so like I know what they've told me. So I was like so excited to have you on. But yeah, Will's been telling me forever. He's like, you got to meet Collin. He's so cool, whatever. And I was like, okay, like what's up? And so it was so cool getting to go to that workout because I told everyone about it. I was just like all my clients and stuff. I was like, where were you at? Like this like place has like 9,000 things, like, you know, machines and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like a private training gym, like, you know, and I was talking to them about that. And yeah, so tell me, like, how did you like meet up with like Gunner? How did all that happen? Like, what's your business? All the things.
Yeah. So shout out to Will.
Yes.
And Gunner. Great dudes.
Yeah.
So I've met Gunner through Will. I was working at Quantum. I was training Will for like a year and a half, and some stuff. I was looking to leave. I was looking to get out of like being a W-2 trainer because you make no money. You get screwed.
Yeah.
And Will had met Gunner at the store, at one of the Clean Eats store, and he's like, hey, like, would you like to talk to this dude? I was like, yeah, sure. And so I like kind of Googled him. I was like, oh, okay, like, dude seems cool.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And he connected us via text, and like I shot Gunner a text. I was like, hey, man, would love to meet you, blah, 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 the standard stuff. And he was like, yeah, we'll be at the gym Saturday after football. And I'm like, okay, I guess he's like working with like some high school football kid or something. I'm like, okay, sweet. I was like, I'll come by. Don't hear from him. And I'm like, it's Friday night. I look at my wife. I'm like, do I text him again? And she goes, yeah. I was like, you know what? Forget it. Let's just see what happens. So I shot him a text. I was like, hey, one, where am I meeting you at? Yeah. Because he never gave me an address.
Right.
And then, am I interviewing or like, are we working out? Like, what it is?
What's the vibe? Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing? He goes, oh, we'll be doing cardio. You can do whatever you want. Ha ha ha. And like, that's just how Gunner is. I was like, all right. So I dress like like I could work out, but I could also be interviewed. So it was like a V-neck shirt or something, but black joggers.
Yeah.
And roll up there, and Gunner's with his friend that he brought out from California, who actually helped set up the gym. Okay. Like that's what he did. And they're doing cardio on the rower, like some circuit stuff. And they're like, hey, you want to jump in? I was like, absolutely not.
Right.
I was like, no.
Not for me.
I make a beeline to the sore next rack. I'm like, I'll just do some back stuff. I was like, no way am I doing cardio. That's a one-way ticket to get kicked out the door because I'm skipping that at the time.
Yeah.
And so Gunner just talks for like 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I think I said 50 words, maybe.
That sounds right, yeah.
And he goes, we'll be here tomorrow if you want to come back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat the same thing the next day. And he's like, you're pretty cool. If you want to start training people here, you can. I was like, this is the most informal thing I've ever experienced.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, give me like 2 weeks to get my stuff together. And met him at the gym 2 weeks later. He's like, here's a key. I'm like, I don't know you. He goes, my wife's like,
right.
Yeah, you're going to give him a key already? And I go, and he's like, he seems cool.
Yeah.
And then boom.
That's hilarious.
Just been there for like 2 years now. It's the best.
Oh, you've been there 2 years. So like right when he opened
up.
I
was, what was that? Yeah, like 23 or 22. Whatever.
Okay, nice.
And it's like,
I'm
so self-employed.
Cool. I love that. So then at that point you were like, okay, so I'm going to start, it's like Big Shane Coaching. Is that your brand?
Yeah, I've been working online with people for like 2 years prior to that and slowly like scaling it up. And then it was at the point where it was now half my income at that time, and now we've like continued to grow it. But I was like, this is way better than paying a gym, not paying a gym, but like getting 20-30% of whatever you're getting.
100%, yes.
I was like, I'm just going to commit to this and just took a dive. I was like, let's go. Because that's the best stuff happens when you take a risk with this. So
for sure. Yeah. No, I love that. And so at the time, because how old's your daughter?
She's just turned 4 months.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say, like, Jess came in there and she's like working out or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, baby's like fresh. Like, I mean, like I was like, oh my gosh. And she looked great. And I was just like, this is awesome. And I loved getting to meet both of them, you know?
Oh, they're my favorite ladies on the planet.
Yeah. So that was so special. But yeah, because like I imagined like getting into that, you probably looked at him as kind of like this, like, how do I don't know, how do I talk to him? Like, you know, like, is it going to be like that, like you said, like the formal interview and all that, whatever. And because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go into the workout on Saturday that we went to, because he was very vague. He was like, 2 fitness icons coming in town. They've been my friends for a long time. Because he told me after he came on the podcast, he's like, you should come like for a workout. And I was like, let's make it work. Over Christmas, trying to figure it out, and literally talking for weeks and couldn't, nail it down. And he was like, literally, it was like that week. And he said, would you want to come to the workout? So I'm thinking, like, what are we doing really though? You know what I mean? Like, is it, and I didn't know that I knew you trained there, but I didn't realize Adam, Dirk's trained there as well, and Cody. And so I didn't know, like, and so the gym's, I mean, he calls it common ground, I think.
Yeah, it's common ground.
Yeah. Gunner's place, yeah. But yeah, I pull up and there's like a big freaking gorilla in the front, and I was just like, the statue, and I was like, this is the suits, like this is right, like, and it was so funny. But I
don't understand the gorilla thing.
Yeah, he just loves gorillas apparently. So yeah, so we get in there, and he just like welcomes me. I'm like, this is awesome, and like I go in and get to meet you guys, and but yeah, I didn't know. I'm like, so like we working out, are we talking, are we doing both? You know what I mean? And so I tried to bounce around. So I was like working out with you, went to Jen, tried to talk to Luke, like, and do that. But I had the best time. Like, it was cool people. So cool. Yeah. Like, and just so awesome. So that was just really special. So you've been there for 2 years, starting your own business, enjoying that and everything. Does your wife also train with you?
Yeah, so my wife helps me on the online. So she was a special ed teacher for 13 years.
Okay.
And we got together, and I was like, hey, we're going to try and have a kid. I was like, you can't do that. She was a beast of a special ed teacher. Really smart, like lectured at Vanderbilt, all this and that. But like, if you've ever been in that classroom and the way the education system's going.
Yeah. We've had a couple special ed teachers on here, and it's wild.
I could never do that job.
Right.
And they don't get paid enough to do that job. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to. I just want to say, every time I'm in this conversation, I just don't understand why this isn't a common thing. But like, wave a wand, make me the emperor of the world. Freaking teachers, #1 highest paid profession. Like, for its importance, it's mind blowing to me how little they're rewarded.
It's nuts. I mean, she's been. The kids have such like tough disabilities, conditions, and it's like a 1 to 10 ratio in the classrooms now. Yeah. In special ed, it's insane.
Right.
And like her assistants, they're not trained. They make $7.25 an hour, and it's dangerous. Like at one point she went to not what I was with. I would have lost it. But this kid was, needless details, but like one of the most dangerous kids in the state. Yeah. Central Hospital. It got bit so bad, like she had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So like, if we're gonna have a kid, one, you're just gonna have to not.
Yeah.
And it's gonna help me too from a business perspective, and just like pushing. I was like, I need your income to disappear for a minute.
Yeah.
It's gonna put me in a corner, and I do good when I'm in a corner.
Oh yeah.
And it's been great. She's been able to take that, like the teaching with like those skills, and translate it to like women. Especially we've gotten to her hometown market in Carthage.
Awesome.
They don't know jack about fitness out there.
Yeah.
And it's so much behavior change. They're throwing butter on everything.
Oh, for sure.
And her brand's just like just growing with that. So she's been a great asset to like bringing on the team, and it's cool because she's my best client too, which is great. I've tried to train girls I've dated in the past, and she's like, whatever. And she's followed it to a T.
Because I wanted to ask you how that is, because there's so many parts that you just said. Like, not only are you working with your wife, but you're training her, and so it's like how is that? Like, you know what I mean?
So easy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's so easy because I was married before, and stuff happened. Don't have to get into that. Mm-hmm. But she's just on another level as a human being.
Yeah.
And we just connect on all kinds of things. I'm just like, how are you real? I'm just saying, I'm very blessed. I'm like, how is this person real?
Okay, so you already know, everyone listening knows this is coming because I'm like a hopeless romantic. So explain to me, like, how did y'all meet? Like, what happened?
Hinge. Yeah, Hinge. It was funny because her profile popped up and I was like, nope. And I was like, and then the algorithm was like, you guys would be a good match. And I was just like, whatever. I'm sure everyone in this room has been on those sites. It's the most depressing thing on the planet.
Oh, for sure.
You're like, this is what's out there. I'm like,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we went on a date to like do axe throwing and like sushi. She kicked my ass on this.
Okay.
Like, it asked me, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It was a good start. And then it was so easy. So we met on the app and then, I mean, we moved quick. Mm-hmm. We hung out like every weekend for weeks. We didn't officially say we were dating till we're on the way to meet her family. She's like, I was like, I think we should have the conversation. I was like, so
before you walk in the door,
I was like, so what are we? She's like, oh, okay, good. I was asking all the girls at work, like what we were supposed to say.
Yeah.
So we had it. And then, I mean, we went on a trip to North Carolina. Okay. And then I was like, we're moving in together in 2 months.
Okay.
And so fast forward, got married, engaged later that year, and then married, and it's been great.
What year was that?
Let's see, we started dating in 21, engaged in 22, married in 23.
Okay.
Baby in 24, whatever.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Isn't it so great? Like, because just how you explained it, like you were like, it's easy. Like, not like, I know relationships are hard work, but like the first like encounter of you didn't have to worry about, you know what I mean? Like the red flags or anything, like nothing of that stuff. You just were like best friends. Like,
I was like, man, I was just doing it wrong before. And I have a small dating history anyways, but it was just like, it was so vastly different.
Yeah. I
was like, wow. I was like, this is how it's supposed to be, like super smooth. So like, it was awesome.
I love that.
I was just going to say, that's a great point that you bring up. Everything requires work, every relationship, especially one that you sign on to forever. But you're 100% right. A lot of people overcomplicate it. It really shouldn't be that difficult. You shouldn't be fighting every day over everything.
But it's that dopamine. It's that like what I've seen in movies and what it should be, and this like drama and like reading into things so much, and like
you're just like, that's just not right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that with me. So, I guess she got pregnant when you were like about like 1 year in your business.
Just after.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how was that mentally for you? Like, were you like, I'm stoked, or were you like, okay, put the pedal to the metal even more? Because you said like you're good in a kind of a corner, like.
It was always being a dad. Prior to being a dad was normally I'm not scared of really, really much. I'm like, whatever happens. Right, it is what it is. But I was like, that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
And once we found out we were pregnant, I was like, oh, cool. And Adam and I had this exact conversation. It was like, as soon as I found out, I was just like, and I got to work a lot more and get like, just try to just keep stepping up.
Right.
So just really dove into work. Pregnancy is a weird time period in general. Not fun. And I wasn't pregnant.
Yeah, right. So because tell me, like, how was that with everything? Was it just?
I mean, it's
trying to figure out how to be supportive, like for her, or like what was that?
So it's, I guess, like two lenses. So like as her trainer, it was a new chapter to learn like how the body adapts. Yeah. So it kind of opens you up to another market. Yep. And just seeing it was funny because we came back from the honeymoon. And like we were blessed, like we got pregnant as soon as we started trying. Yeah. And her strength took like a 20% dip, and I was like, what? I was like, what? Yeah. Didn't know that. And then it was like, oh, it makes sense in hindsight. Like 2 weeks later, when we like, took the test, like, oh gosh, like you're like, so that was cool. Yeah. But just the body image stuff that comes with that, because it was the best she looked. Like when we had first started dating, like she had worked with 2 other trainers in the past. Okay. One idiot, ruined hormones and all that. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there. Like get it.
Buffoon. Second one was good, helped with getting like her stuff back together, but from a training philosophy and like programming standpoint, is not that best. Not bad, but not the best. Right. Because we worked out the one time together, and I was like, hey, if you want, I'm not trying to trainer you, but
I can help.
Make some tweaks. Yeah. And she's like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll write your program if you want. She goes, no, it'd be great. And then took her all the way to stage, which was awesome.
That's awesome.
So then, like, fast forwarding to the wedding and whatnot, like, it's the best she's ever looked.
Yeah.
And then you go to pregnancy, and it's like body image is crazy. So it's just being supportive as much as you can with that, and also knowing. I don't remember who said this to me, but someone was like, "You're dealing with an insane person."
Yeah.
In the nicest way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're just like, just
yeah,
trying to listen more than
for
fix,
sure.
which is a hard thing for most. I love to just jump to like, here's a solution. It's like, oh, I need to just
oh,
listen.
yeah.
Like, that's my first thing. I'm like, wait, stop.
Yeah.
And so like, it was just interesting, but from a work perspective, it's just more from just another.
It's
motivator.
more information, right? Yeah. Like you said about the whole with the hormones and everything. Like that's what happened to me when I got my bodybuilding, because I had a not great coach, and so now I have autoimmune issues, so it's like hard for me to see out of my left eye. So all of that to say, it was one of those things where like, you know, never knew that was something that could happen. And so that was really challenging. And the hormones were crazy. Like I didn't have a cycle for like 3 years. And literally everyone was like, oh yeah, that's normal. Like he was just like, yeah, I mean, go get your blood work done. And I would do it. And I'm like, everyone was just like, yeah, you're just like so healthy. Like it's just like so like it was like a flex. Like I remember being like, you know, and it was
golden.
Right. But it was like, absolutely not. And so it just led me like to like everything just crashing essentially. And yeah. And so, but again, my whole mission is like to help women love their body throughout every season.
That's cool.
So it helped me be able to come from a lens, because a lot of my girls just now that I work with, autoimmune issues, PCOS, I mean, so many things that, I mean, a lot of them have endometriosis, like so many issues that like I never realized, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't know the inner workings of it. But since I do have the autoimmune now, I can look at it from a different lens. And so I look at those things of like, it's not a negative, but it's just going to help me be better.
And you can relate to it more.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, so I think that that's great that you're able to see that, just because I think that so many times a lot of male trainers and a lot of, you know, are just like so black and white with it. And it's like, you can't be. Like no. you literally can't, especially if a hormone, if like, even if something's just slightly off, like thyroid or whatever, right? Like they're not going to be able to lose fat properly. So it's like, you have to look at that too. Cause you can't be like, oh, do more cardio, work harder. Like that's what a lot of these coaches do.
Yeah. And you're making the problem worse.
Exactly. Yeah. So did you find like, was it, like I said, was it after, you know, after the pregnancy and stuff, like her easing back into things, like, has it been kind of like cool to see like her body change in that way? Like,
yeah, it's been cool because it's like in theory from the change and like hormonal stuff, like from pregnancy, like I got it, but I've never like, I work with plenty of women, but they're so far off of pregnancy.
Right.
Minus like a handful. Mm-hmm. Like they were anyone that I worked with that like had a kid, they're at least 1 year removed.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's like, that journey's a little different.
Yeah.
But it's been cool to see right away because stuff it just changes so quick and it makes way more sense. You're like, okay, like this stuff's off. So like tendon elasticity is going to be way worse. Like they're not going to be able to produce as much force, this and that. And then just like the shape of, do you know Jason Colley?
Is he?
I think he was
at Next Level.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I met him as I was leaving. Yeah.
So he has a great mentorship program that I ran, and it's a lot of like, have you heard of like ISAs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like with pregnancy, it was really good to do. I did that before Jess got pregnant, and it was just cool to see because Jess had like perfect measurements.
Yeah.
Across the board, like all table tests, golden.
Yeah.
No real injury history, but then like she got pregnant, like she just totally shifted to a wide.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, when she's coming back to now, we spent the first month just like pretty much just reshaping like her pelvis and ribs back into it to where she's got those same measurements again, but she was jacked to start. So like that's cool.
Yeah.
To pair along with like, oh, like the hormone stuff and all this and that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, it's so cool to like hear it from your perspective because I've only had, you know, people on here like women who've been pregnant, stuff like that. And that men that don't train their wives or work with them. So it's really interesting because like I've always wondered that because a lot of times people will be like, oh, you probably want someone that can like, you know, you can like, you know, obviously like work out with and stuff, but like, oh, would you ever want like someone to be your trainer or any of that stuff? And it's like, no, not for me. Like I don't even want someone that's like, that has their own personal training business as well. Like I would like them to not, because again, that's just me. You know what I mean? I don't think it vibes well, like with what I want to do and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
But I loved seeing that you guys were like this team, and that was so cool because I think it's rare to see that you can like make it work, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's really easy. And she checks me better than anybody, which is so funny. I'm like, how'd this sound? She goes, you got to do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
Yeah, but that's good. We need that. We need accountability. We need those people. So tell me, were you going to say anything?
I was just going to ask you earlier, you said that you're not, you're mostly like how it falls type of attitude about things, but you said you were nervous about being a father. I was just curious why.
Oh, I really don't know. It just, I'm not sure. But now, as soon as she came out, like, it's Scarlett, not nervous at all. I've been it was so odd. I'm like, this is so natural.
Yeah.
So confident. Like, just, not to, like, blow smoke on my...
No, yeah.
I was like, wow, that was surprising.
Yeah. Did you know always that you wanted to be a dad? Or was it one of those things that you're like,
oh yeah, I've always wanted to be a dad.
Okay.
For sure.
That's what I was going to say. Is like whenever you thought about being nervous about it, was it like you wanted to make sure you were at a certain level? Was it like maybe the health of your wife? Was it like the work, like whenever you thought about that kind of like anxiety about it? I'm just curious.
The biggest thing comes back to like being able to provide like a safe, like finance, like obviously finances, and you're in training, it can jump up or down depending on so many things.
Yes.
That's just nerve wracking. Like when you're like, I'm going to have a kid. Like,
Right.
But.
So, yeah, because that's the biggest thing that I've always thought about too. Because I'm like, just picturing myself like pregnant and whatever, and like training. And then it's like at the end of the day, like hopefully having someone that had like a stable income, as I would say. But like I would say that still mine has been stable, like from the amount of time I've been in business, you know? So like, and also you can kind of pivot, you can kind of do a couple other things, whatever. And if you're a grinder, which sounds like you are too, like you'll make it work, like you'll figure it out.
100%.
And so, so I don't really feel like that would be an issue, but then it was the whole like, well, if I have to take off time, you know what I mean?
That's just,
And that's a scary part or whatever. But then it's also like online programming, like you were talking about, and like the virtual training and stuff like that, so you can make it work. But I know that that's in the back of people's mind of, what could possibly happen and stuff. So
yeah, I think we took like, if you count the days in the hospital, which we were there for 3, we took 3 days off.
Wow.
And then when we came home, we were like back at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was back on, like she was checking in with her clients like that Tuesday. We came home on a Sunday.
Yeah. She was really cool. So tell me this. So she competed beforehand, and so you both had competed but never ran into each other before.
So she attempted to compete with the buffoon.
Yeah.
And I don't like him. He's an idiot. Like that. He's what's wrong with the bodybuilding industry.
Oh, I probably know who you're talking about, but it's like,
bingo. That shit makes me so mad. Her situation makes me so mad because you're given responsibility to take care of the most important thing, somebody's health. Yeah. And you're supposed to make it here, and you somehow
get it.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It's just not cool.
Yeah.
So she never made the stage. She did the one that I coached her to.
Okay, because I saw that one, so that's why I didn't know when that was or if you were the coach and stuff like that. So that's cool. So then is her, because like, so for everyone listening too, because I do have some people who maybe don't know a lot about bodybuilding and stuff. So tell them what division you were in, what division she was in, and kind of like what is I guess like what is your like goal and aspiration with it?
Yeah. So I compete in Classic. I'm competing again this year. So like Classic is kind of based off, for those that know, everyone knows what Arnold looked like. There's a whole division that's based on that time period and look.
Yeah.
So it's not as big as bodybuilding and not as hard, but they're still pretty big and pretty lean.
Right.
But it's more of that older look. And then she competed in wellness. We laugh about it because I don't know what goggles we had on. She should have been bikini.
Yeah.
Prep is so weird because you diet to a spot and then you're just so not seeing things clearly.
Yeah.
She should have been bikini.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we're like, nice butt. Let's push wellness no matter what. And we did it. It's like she placed, but it's like she would have done so much better in bikini.
Yeah. The difference of the two,
yeah. Yeah, so bikini is like smaller, not as hard, like close to Sports Illustrated look models. Only like a touch more muscular. And then like wellness is like big quads.
Wellness
big
is
glutes.
the one I did. And so that's where like whenever, because I had a coach that was like, yeah, your quads. I'm like, great, this can be great division for me. Cause like I knew that like bikini wouldn't work and I didn't want to, bodybuilding, whatever. And so I remember being like, cool, that'll be great. But then as I was doing it, they were like, oh, but also your booty. And I'm like, cool. Cause so I got injured. I told you a little bit about that with strongman competitions.
Yeah.
And so with that, my whole left side was numb for like 2.5, 3 years. And so, cause vertebrae shifted forward, crushed the disc. Like, yeah. So it's like casual now. Cause I'm like, but that's why when I was doing deadlifts with Adam and them, I was like, I literally had to restrain myself. I was like, don't do anymore.
That
like,
beast is still in there.
Yeah, it is. And that's what's so hard because like I'm like, let me go pull a truck again. But anyway, but yeah, so with
those, there's weight divisions so you have wellness and then there's weight divisions inside of wellness?
There's not really weight divisions. Like
it's like height for
there's different heights and
it's
stuff.
height for those, and then like classic has height and weight caps.
Yeah.
And then bodybuilding has weight caps, and then physique, they're just...
Yeah. But with that, like with the injury and stuff, my left glute, like I couldn't do anything. I could feel it. You see what I'm saying? So like I had the hardest time trying to grow my glutes. So literally dieted down, got to like 14% body fat, whatever. And like, but it was like I turned from the front and I was like, yeah. And I turned to the side, it was like, no. And so it literally, and I knew that, but I was like, I'm too big, like I'm too muscular to do, bikini. I'm just like not the frame, whatever. And it was just like, cool. So anyway, so that was my running with that. But I did wellness for 4 shows. And yeah, after that, I was like the last one I couldn't see out of my left eye on stage. And I was like, yeah, literally, I did my deal. And then I was like, I'm done. About what? Oh, what my coach said?
Think about this.
So the mental, when you talk about the body stuff and whatever, because again, I'm over here, I was like speaking at lectures, like talking to workshops, telling women like, you can love your body through every season, all this stuff, whatever. And because I did believe that and I still do, but you got to have help and you got to have accountability because I'm very naturally just confident. Okay. So I've been, you're like I said, been doing all the stuff anyway. And so for me, it was one of those where like, you could like, if I wasn't naturally confident and got into that sport, I'm like, I feel for those girls because they would come off stage just thinking they're not good enough, they're worthless, or and I was like, I just don't understand. But like, as I started to feel and not feel my best, like because of everything happening inside that I didn't know, I remember the last session we had. I was standing in the posing room and whatever, and he was like, "This is the best you've ever looked." And I'm standing there, and I was like, I can't even see myself in the mirror. And I was like, so what good is it for me to look so good? You know what I mean? I was like, for all of you, because I literally don't care about any of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like to be me, but I was like, it's about how I feel.
Yeah.
And so the lack of like that, it was just kind of and what's crazy, look, not to get into whatever, but there's also another girl that he trains that same thing is happening to her right now. And the thing is that then when I started speaking out about this, girls would message me and they're like, Danny, I was on bed rest. I was put on PEDs when I was 19 or 17, something like crazy. And I'm like, but no one was talking about it. And so I was like, why didn't y'all tell me this? And like, well, we thought it was just us. Like he made us think that it was just our problem. Oh, I have no idea. I've never seen that before. It's like,
I think Buddy needs to be put in prison personally. But,
but it's hard, right? Because it's a fine line. But when multiple people are having this happen, because one off, yes, I get it. Stuff happens, right? Maybe 2. But when we're having multiple cases, that's negligence.
It's also like a thing with the sport that I hope changes is I love it a lot. Like back to your question, like I hope to get like my OCB Pro card, like naturally be dope. But it's not that serious. At the end of the day, if you're not going to the Olympia, you're not going to the Olympia stage if you're, if you are
natural.
Even the ones that aren't, like you just know, like you more than likely know, and the people that make that their whole life and stuff sacrifices. I mean, to each their own, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just think there's I've just seen so many people they get so wrapped up into it, and I'm like, dude, you can barely pay your rent.
Yeah.
And you're worried about competing again.
Yeah. I know.
Again, do what you want, but it's
Right.
just like that shift needs to go.
Well, and the thing is too is when I got into it, it was because literally, like I loved strongman. Like
It's cooler.
but yeah, exactly.
It's way cooler. I'm like, I saw Steffi Cohen like deadlifting. I was like, all right, I'm not going to be stronger than her, so I'm for sure anchoring down into this bodybuilding thing.
Yes.
But like, I'll be way cooler.
But literally, what I said to people was, I was like, I gotta find something that I'm not lifting 400, 500 pounds regularly. Like I gotta like whatever. I was like, oh, bodybuilding, because you lift lighter weights.
That's
and
where
like
all the washed up athletes go.
right, exactly.
Right there with you.
So I was just like, cool, let's like do that. And then at that time though, again, it still was one of those things where like, you know, okay, get on the meal plan, do the stuff, whatever. And I was like injured. So, and I'm going through loss and everything. I put my all into it. Like I didn't miss, like every meal was, I mean, like there was no little cheats here. There was no like whatever. Like I was like so to the T, like it was my entire like tunnel vision. You know what I mean?
And it's a
like,
fun feeling to do all that.
And it is then for the first, and like I look back on it with like kinder eyes now of like the first year, it was cool because I'm like, man, that was really successful. I did a good job. I should have stopped there. That's where I should have stopped. But I was like, okay, let's like go back again. But then it's just like, hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the LYB podcast. If you haven't yet, please go check out the How to Love Your Body Throughout book on Amazon. This is my very first book. I am so proud of it. It is a short read. You can also get it on Kindle. So it's not a huge commitment, but it is something of a self-help book. So if you're someone who is looking for support, you're looking for tools, you're looking for just a way to feel better during this holiday season and into the new year, I definitely recommend it. I put my heart and soul into this, and this is just the start. So if you haven't yet, go on Amazon and get your first copy.
Hey, I'm Collin Schoen with Big Shane Coaching. You can find me on Instagram, Big Shane Coaching. It's SCHOEN. Doesn't look anything like it sounds. And at bigshane.com.
He kept me in a diet phase for all that entire time and stuff. And like, there were just so many things that happened. I didn't go out. I didn't live. I didn't do anything. Even in like the my building phase. None of that. It was all just such strict, such whatever. I was under so much stress, and for so long. So when people were like, "Oh, I did like a 20-week prep or whatever," I'm like, I'm on like a 52-week prep. Like what? You know what I mean?
Dieted for 52?
Like, oh my god, it was literally like when you look at the amount. If I were to show you like the stuff that I had, you'd be like, and now that I see it, because I know and have like I've had an Olympian on this, on this podcast. Like I've talked to them, and like the fact that they were like, Danny, like, that's way too low. Like it was just never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also the workouts and everything that I did. I mean, just crazy. Like that's all I can put it at. There was no need for all of that cardio. There was no need for all of that whatever when I'm not even in a dieting, or when I'm not even in a prep phase.
Yeah, that's
So I never got a break. So as soon as the day after I came off stage, that morning I was on the stairs, and people were like, "Oh, like Danny, like you're getting like right back to it." I was like, "Yep, we got to be in it." Like.
It was as bad at like the worst that it got towards the end of that fall. We were here doing a podcast one day, and she had that shit like the show like that weekend, I think, and all the health stuff had started. So I guess you were kind of like, I have to like chill or something like so because we were talking about where you were at that point.
Oh yeah.
But the show was that weekend, and I said something along the lines of like, I'm just really glad that the show's this weekend, and like you can finally be done with this. And this woman goes, "Well, I have another one the next weekend."
Yeah, I did them back to back. And so like it was like, no, so this prep, and then I was like, then the next one's that weekend. So like there was like no quit. Like I was in it to like burn to the ground, basically.
There's something to be said to that too. I mean,
right. I mean, you get it in the bodybuilding work because it's like you're already in that phase, you're already in that whatever. Yeah. So let's compete again and stuff like that. But it was just like, yeah, I needed that support of like, I gotta like we were talking about like your wife, like. That if she saw that happening to you or you saw that happening to her, you'd be able to be like, hey, we got to pull it back.
Yeah, you have to be able to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
I pulled somebody out once before. I was like, it's just not there yet.
Which is great. And that should have been the thing. But that's what like bodybuilding coaching, like in the buro and like whatever. Like it's just, yeah. It's
dude, more stuff keeps coming out over that area. I'm like, that's crazy.
I know.
But you see them backstage, you're like, you guys got a weird energy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anything about him, but just weird energy, and you just carry on.
Yeah.
Then later, you're like, oh, you made it on Goob, you?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It's like in that culture, and again, for everyone listening, they're probably like, wow, bodybuilding sounds awful. Look, no. The determination, the fact of like that you can put yourself in such a state and get to that level of just like fighting for what you want day in and day out. Like it's unreal. And it's a beautiful, like, I mean, I loved that part of it.
Same.
It's just, again, with anything, there's a balance. Like there has to be some like, you know, take back or whatever to give yourself some rest, you know, all that stuff. Especially with women with hormones, you got to have a good coach. You got to have somebody that understands that, gets it.
Perspective. You know? It's
yeah.
having a good perspective of it. But
yeah.
People do get to go to positions that less than 1% of the population will ever even
yeah.
think. And then just, even if you come in last.
Oh, yeah.
That whole journey is
yes.
like something to be proud of, because it is a job on top of the rest of your life and job
yes.
and all that stuff. Like because it's 24/7 if you want to do it.
Yeah. Which I love that you said that, because that was very sweet, because again, it was one of those things where that is so true. And that's why I tried to tell those girls is like, and even friends of mine that compete, I was like, because they wouldn't get what they wanted. They didn't win, or they're getting it second or whatever. And I'm like, the fact is you still put in the work. You still did so much. Like you should be proud of.
Yeah.
You know?
And you could lose as someone that's just a genetic freak, and you can every time you'll never beat them, no matter how hard you work.
Yep.
Because everyone works hard, but there's just people that are just. It's not like soccer or football where there is genetics is a big part of it. You can't beat that
for sure. And just getting real with it. So, but I love that. So then, in terms of so when you're coaching and everything like that. So besides all that, like, what do you guys do? Like now that you're new parents and stuff. Like are you like. Just how is that process? Like, are you, because I saw you were talking on your story about like communicating and everything. Like,
yes, because I need to, it's funny.
Tell us, Collin.
From an outward perspective, it probably looks like my wife just stays at home with the kid, and it's like super easy for me to continue on and blah, 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 because I've been in the gym for forever and I'm just leaving it to my wife, which is not the case at all.
Right.
From the get-go, it's a scheduling thing.
Yes.
It's easier for me at this point in my like fitness journey to still get it in because I'm not starting from, like I work with plenty of parents. I'm not starting from, hey, this is the start of your fitness journey and you have kids.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for working out in some shape or fashion for 15 years. So like that is just a part of my day. Mm-hmm. It's just looking at the next day, okay, I have clients from here to here. I have calls. My wife needs to get her workout in. I need to get mine in. We don't have childcare.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That sucks. But you can't be like, oh, I'm not going to get my workout in, or I'm not going to do anything because I have a kid and I don't want to get up at 3. No. It's, you have a kid, there's going to be some sacrifice to do that, because you would never let your kid be like, I'm not going to go because this. Like, that's a terrible answer. You can't use a thing that if your kid came to you like later in life, I only have a 4-month-old, so obviously I don't know I don't know the later stages and blah blah blah, like what that feels like. But it'll be the same game of it's just a scheduling thing. So it just evolves with communicating with your partner. Yeah. Hey, I'm going at this time so you can go at this, or I need you to watch her so I can do this. Right. Because I have this goal. And she's like, okay, cool. And I'm like, all right, cool. Inconvenient? A little bit, but that's just this is having a kid. Right.
And I love that, because in terms of like my entire life, like I am such a schedule oriented person. Like I was literally like 4 years old, and my mom, like she even has talked to us before, but like, and showed me like a schedule that I did. Like I was like, it was like go outside, like play with the dog, and like it literally like was 8:45 to 9.
That's my wife.
9 to 9. Yeah, like it was so like that's how I was from the get go, and it's good though, and it's so good, and I love it because I can't stand people who can't like you know what I mean, in terms of like scheduling and stuff or whatever. Like I live for it. Like it is my favorite thing, and it's just such a structure.
Yeah, it makes things better.
Yeah, it does make things better, but people get overwhelmed and then they don't understand. I'm like, you're living in the whatever
in chaos.
Exactly.
You have no structure. You're in chaos 24/7.
Yes, exactly. And so it's like when you can like hone in on that, like, and because a lot of times people look at my stuff from the outside, they're like, you got chaos. Like you're all over. You're doing this. You're doing that. Whatever. And I'm like, it's all organized though.
Right. Exactly.
Like, and that's all it is. You know. Yeah.
Like your structure doesn't have to be when your client structure. That would be irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's why I love doing it, is like programming like actual real healthy lifestyle regimens for them. Because again, I don't know what it's like to be a nurse that works those hours and like through the night and everything like that. So it's like, again, looking at it and being more empathetic and being like, okay, get it, but this is what we have to do then. If that's what it is, that's what it's going to be.
Let's work through it together. Like, you tell me, because I don't know, but I have a rough idea of that.
Yeah. You said before you're from Smyrna, right? Yeah. Okay. Look at you. You're like,
claim it proud. Claim it
It's
proud.
fine. It's fine. I don't want to go back to Smyrna. Like, I feel like that.
Yeah. Hey, we all have an origin story, you know. So like, but
my parents are still there. So I mean, like,
see, my parents are in Murfreesboro. Yeah. So I get it. You're how old? How old are you?
30.
30. Okay. Yeah. So around the same age. So it's like, but I was just, when we met, that's what I was saying. It's always just funny because people give me so much stuff about the borough. So that's why I was like giving you stuff about Smyrna.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's essentially Antioch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Right. And so was your goal? So now though, y'all are in Franklin, you said, or Mount Juliet?
We're in Mount Juliet.
Okay.
And we're gonna move further out because my wife's from Carthage. I love that.
You love that area.
I love that life out there. I didn't have that at all, except a boy.
Right.
So like, didn't get to do the tractor thing, didn't get to ride the 4-wheelers.
Right.
But I'm like, man, that would always be fun. And the family down there is.
Love it. That's awesome. Are you an only child? Or are you?
No, I have 2 younger siblings, a brother and a sister.
Okay, cool. So you're the oldest. Okay.
Yes.
So then, you know, like with that, your parents, you said, are still in Smyrna, but are your siblings, where are they at? They still?
Sister's in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
My brother's in the Air Force now, and he was just in Japan. He's now in Kansas.
Okay. So when you were talking to them about like starting your own, you know, fitness and everything, your fitness business, like, was there any reservations with them, or was it like, oh, that suits? Cause like you've always just been healthy and athletic.
I mean, I trained, like when I went in, I mean, I worked as a PT tech out of college and then was a trainer for 3 years before I started my own thing. So like, that wasn't, I was just like, they know I hate having a boss. I hate it.
Yeah.
Anything. It's the worst.
Yep.
A good employee, but golly, do not, like when you put stupid rules in place. I'm like, nope, don't like it. I don't like it. I gotta get out. I'm out. So they're like, no, you'll be fine.
Okay.
Did you play sports too?
Yeah.
What did you play?
Cross country, track, soccer. I wrestled.
Okay.
That's a sport not to start late because you get.
Yeah.
Well, you're
those boys come around. They've been wrestling bears since they were 5. And
Oh my gosh.
It's over with.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
I was going to ask you about the fatherhood thing one more time about you guys were talking about scheduling and the communicating and being a new father and stuff. I got married in the fall, and so thank you. These are conversations that that I'm having or slowly getting into at least. But one thing that me and my wife talk about that we agree on is that you bring the child comes into your life.
Oh yeah.
And the priority still has to be with your spouse, or it kind of just rots from there down.
Mm-hmm.
So accurate. I totally agree with that. I've said that. I don't know if you guys are Jordan Peterson fans.
Yeah, he loves.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had that 90 minutes a week rule that he has set. It's like you need to have I can't remember if it's based off studies or not, but it's like there needs to be 90 minutes a week of dedicated time for the two of you.
I love that.
Whether that's just talking, doing whatever, but you have to keep that, or like the relationship starts to dwindle out. Yeah. Which is hard with a kid because, man.
Right.
Time goes by 400 times faster.
Really?
Yeah. My dad said that growing up. He's like, time gets faster every year. And I was like, okay, whatever. It takes forever to get to Christmas. And then you get to college. Like, it's going to move pretty quick. You get married. Like, okay, it's really moving fast. You get a kid. I mean, it's like hours go by.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
So, like, you look, it's gone.
So I believe in that, too, in terms of, like, because that's the thing, too. And based off my faith, I mean, it's like God's first, then my spouse, then, you know, and then having your kid. But society has warped that. And it's like all about the child and everything like that, which again, it's like that's where I feel like, isn't the divorce rate like over 50% or something crazy?
It's not low, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's very high.
But it's like
very, very
one
high.
for two over here. No.
Oh, well,
I'm
sorry.
kidding.
But like,
no. Blessing in disguise. Blessing in disguise.
Yes. Yeah.
Funny.
But
See, 50%.
Oh gosh. But yeah. But so it's like, again.
It definitely is. And that's one of the biggest problems, in my humble opinion, in parenting in this current day and age, is that everybody wants to be their kids' friends. And there's no boundaries. There's no like, look, I'm the father. This is you're like, like if I saw a funny video of this, like it was like a Southern dad or whatever. And long story short is that he heard the son like saying something to the wife, and he basically came back there and said, I know that wasn't you because another grown man is not going to speak to my wife like that. And that's his son. But the point is,
yeah, exactly.
That's your wife, though.
Yeah.
And like, if you, if that part of the relationship spoils, I grew up in a really chaotic household. You think that you're saving the kids by not prioritizing your relationship? You're definitely not, because they're going to be there for all those fights. They're going to be there for all those, and they'll figure it out eventually.
And they leave. Your kids leave at 18.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And then you got to be.
Then you're with your spouse.
And then what?
Right.
And then what? Remember that commitment that you made before you had the child?
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah. That's wild, man. So tell me a little bit. So with the shows coming up, so you're doing 3, right? 3 shows?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. What are the ones? What are they?
I'm doing the Nashville Fit one.
Yeah.
Mainly because I love Terry and them. It'd
Yeah.
be cool to support that. I also said something smart on their podcast about it before I knew it was actually happening. I was like, see y'all there.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yes,
all right,
yeah.
definitely have to go now.
Oh, man.
So that's the first one.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of just a test.
Yeah.
Whatnot. And then I'm doing Battle of the River. And then I'll do NPC Battle of the River. And then I'll do OCB.
Yeah.
The Music City, wherever it is.
Okay.
So hopefully
Yeah.
requalify for nationals and NPC, and then get a pro card in OCB and see what the rest of the year looks like.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
pretty
that.
stoked about that.
Yeah, that's so cool. So then in terms of like after, with the shows and everything like that, do you feel like it's like with the prep and everything, like what do you feel like is the hardest part of your preps for you personally?
Well, previously, I actually hired a coach this time.
Okay.
Steve Hall.
Yes.
With Revive Stronger out in London.
Okay.
Great. Because I've had 2 coaches for other stuff before, and it was, this dude's class act. Like, I followed his podcast for like 10 years. Great. Previously, hunger, also like not starting prep at a leaner state. That was a big thing because we did it in 2 phases this time. But hunger gets me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'm a food dude. Like, I love eating.
Okay.
And it's just like, once like carbs get to a point, and they're not even low, just like once more so body fat gets to a point, I'm just like,
yeah.
and then like trying to stay on with clients and, and whatnot.
It's so hard.
I just don't like being hungry. Like, that's the thing. And like, that's the main sport. So it's that. But besides that, I mean, I love the whole thing. I think it's so doggone cool. Mm-hmm. And it's just, this go around, I think it's gonna be easy. Like, so far it's been easy because we offloading it.
Right.
So I'm just literally just following a plan.
Yes, which is what, like, let's say that for everyone to listen to. Yeah. Like, everyone should have a trainer or coach on some level, you guys. Like, it blows my mind how people still think that, like, again, the most elite people that I know and the people, like, have a coach. And me and Matt talked about that. Like, and it's just like that he has, a coach. And it's like, there's so many people in the population right now who are just trying to do it on their own, and they fail and they don't feel good, and and then it's the not loving their body, and it's like this, it's attached to who they are, and it's like, I know that it costs money, I get it,
it's so worth the time save.
Exactly.
Because even if you would get to the destination at the same time period, it's everything in between that gets better with having a coach. I literally am not thinking about my own thing. I just follow. And I love training science. And like, I would try and get cute with stuff and experiment or whatever. But now I don't spend any energy thinking about it, which now goes to my wife, my daughter, and the business.
Right. 100%.
And it's so much better.
Yeah.
So that time, if you extrapolate that out, like better relationship, better business, all that, like your quality of life just gets better.
It's worth it.
And stress is down, so you can go down like the whole, less stress, better life, blah, blah, blah. So totally worth it.
Yeah, I love that. So when you got here, we were talking about, because you came and you saw the Airbnb sign and everything like that. So do you guys have like your own like house, townhouse?
No, we rent an apartment right now because it's insane here. Yeah, we started. I mean, you remember like when you're training somewhere, you're making $30,000.
Yeah,
saving jack squat in Nashville, making $30,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Because tell me, because you said you were at Quantum, right?
I started at Empower.
Yes, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Started at Empower, and then I went to Quantum after I left Empower, just because, like, I still refer people over there just from the training perspective, just their ethos doesn't align with me.
Right. I gotcha. Quantum's wild, man.
Quantum was so good for me because, one, I got to meet a ton of people.
Right.
It's a very unique environment. You get to see if you know what you're doing with training, because most of the people we work with there are fit.
Right.
So coming from working with Gen Pop, post-op type people to then going to that, it's like, all right, I have this in my brain on like what should work. And then taking to people that are already what they consider themselves to be fit, is it's a hard sell because you're like, hey, you're pretty jacked.
Yeah, how was that for you? How were you
I
able
crushed,
to?
not to like it was so. There's,
I did though, but
I did, but it's not because of me. It's if you listen to I mentored under Pat Davidson. I'm a big nerd in the field. Like I read a ton, listen to a ton. Like if you listen to what the top people in the industry are saying. Yeah. They write it out for you how to do it. Like because at Empower was, they go to the doctor, they do physical therapy, and then they go to a trainer. Like it's the sweetest model. Like if you want to get started, I mean, it's secure too.
Right.
Then you go to Quantum, it's sales. You're working the gym floor.
Yeah.
I remember listening to the Mind Pump guys. I was like, I got to figure out how to do this because it's a sales aspect. And just you follow it. See, there's people that have done this long enough. You follow it.
Right.
And if you're a professional with it, like that's the thing. Most trainers, not professionals.
Right.
They're goofballs or they're just it's a half. Gunnar says it all the time. It's not a career, it's a job to them. And so they're not really into it. But if you can establish that level, like, hey, like I am really invested in this, and I know a good amount, I see where you're at and I'm giving you credit where credit's due, but I have a system. These people are successful. It's not cheap to go to Quantum. So they see success. So you got to match that. You got to be the high dollar type of parallel to like a higher end restaurant. Right. And so if they see that and then, I mean, was not bad.
You're talking about it's like selling on the gym floor?
It's not because I hate that. Because that would piss me off if I was working out and someone's like, "Hey,
that's because that's what I was trying to put together. I was like, I know there's a good way to, like, a better ways to do things with that. I don't know.
You tell me. You tell me. Yeah.
What I did, this may just been luck of the draw or whatever, but based off who I've listened to and then this experience, they see that you have to, if you're going to try and work with a lot of people and do things, they have to see that you have skin in the game in some shape or fashion. Like that you compete, that you take yourself to a level they're like, holy crap, that's possible to do. Like this dude's got it. Yeah. And then you have to be a person. Yes. The clients I got from Quantum, unless it was from the sales lady who's no longer there, she was awesome. You gotta be cool. And you gotta know that you're not gonna get them by going, hey, your deadlift looks weird. Like, have you ever tried this bad pull apart, blah, blah, blah? Because they're like, dude, suck it. Like, screw you. I'm jacked. Like, you're 5'2". Right. And I'm like, yes, but then they'll just see. Because did you know Dalton Porter?
Sounds familiar.
He was at Quantum at the same time.
Okay.
So we used to have these TVs at Quantum, and if you were to tweet out the hashtag, you'd just be on the TV loop. And we were just like, dude, let's just throw our stuff on there. Yeah. And it stays on. So then they see that. Then you talk to them. You're cool. You don't sell them at all because that's like the Instagram DM. Hey. Yeah. Have you thought about adding 10 followers? Right. Whatever. Annoying. So you just talk to them. Yeah. And then you do some stuff for free. Yeah. And then eventually they're like, hey, man, that worked. Yeah. Do you coach people? I do have trainer on the back, but yeah.
Actually, that's what I do. Yeah.
So you just have to, and you have to spend like 15 hours in that gym. Like if you're gonna work a box gym, you got to spend forever on the floor, not getting paid. Yeah. But
that's what I did when I was in Franklin. It was at that corporate gym or whatever, and I literally I did so many positions there. I was doing water aerobics. I was doing group fitness. I was doing personal training. I was working the desk. I was doing the back end of stuff, like everything I could possibly do. Yeah. And would literally leave my parents' house at like 4 a.m., get there and be there till 9 p.m. at night because it was just what you just did that. Like but so many trainers wouldn't do that. And then they would get upset and look at me and be like, how is she making the most? Or how is she like the top sales, whatever? It's like, bro, you're here 3 hours a day. Right. Like, I don't know how you don't understand. So that was like so interesting to me because I was just like, this is my like career, like this is my life. And then I was like, I will never forget like Cortland, because Cortland Finnegan, he went there as well. And he literally would he sat me down one day. And this was such a special moment because he was like, what's going on? Like, who are you? And I was like, I'm Danny D. Like, and Danny D. He used to work out there. Yeah. And I was like, I'm Danny D. Like, I'm passionate about helping people love their body, just my whole deal, And he was like, yeah, like you're different than like the trainers I see here and everything like that. I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a lifestyle. I'm not trying to get them like, the smallest body that they can have. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to help them through. Anyway, told him the whole deal, whatever. And he was like, that makes so much more sense. And it was like, and then we work out together and stuff on the floor, and people would be like, oh, like she's working out with Cortland. Like,
Let me tell
you know what
Danny,
I mean?
I know you're not a big sports person.
Yeah.
Cortland Finnegan is a dog.
I know. I mean, I've literally.
He's a dog.
I mean,
and it's not just that he's a good player; he's a dog.
But see, the funny thing,
he's the kind of fight that he has.
Right.
For him to notice you
That's cool.
is a big compliment.
Well,
big compliment.
What was funny is that like I was working membership, and I don't do math. I don't do accounting with stuff really well. And this is how we met was he was coming through, and it said his membership wasn't active. And I was like, hey, sir, because I don't watch football. So I'm like 23. And I was like, hey, you're not, you can't go in. Like,
was
it's
this
like,
during the strongman time or not?
this is before strongman.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, no. So this is like literally, I had graduated college 2015, lived in Vermont and worked at All Women's Healthy Living Resort and was there till 2016. And then I started at that corporate gym, but they put me in membership. And it was a whole thing, like, because I was supposed to go in as personal trainer, and they're like, we don't really think that you would do well here with that. And I was like, okay, I thought I had the job. So I was like, but can I just do, was there anything else? And so put me in membership. But that gave me the opportunity to talk to thousands of people that came through the door. So just like Cortland, I was like, I'm sorry, like you can't go through, like your membership's not valid. I mean, I think maybe you need to update your payment or something. And literally the guys all looked at me like, dang, let him through. And I was like, then he was like, do you know, like, are you new here? And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. And then he kept walking, and I was
That's
like,
funny.
but that's how we met. Like, what?
Towards the end of a segment, if I want to come
Yeah.
Let me show you this.
I mean, I've probably seen it because we're friends. We've been friends for years now.
This is the man that went out of his way to be like,
yeah.
there's something else going on with you. Look at this man.
Is he like? Yeah.
I always forget it was him.
Yeah.
I always remember it's the receiver. I never remember that's.
Look at them.
That dude's like
Yeah.
twice his size.
Oh, Andre Johnson, one of the most
Oh,
physical
that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
in the league. He's
Yeah.
let's scrap right now.
Yeah.
In the middle of the field.
Yeah. But yeah,
Crazy.
and so but anyway, but it was just stuff like that. So what you're saying, I totally get and totally vibe. And you just have to be present. You have to be seen. Like you gotta put everything out there. That's why I like my bands, my my shirt, like it says Dandy Fitness, like all of that stuff that I did when I started my business was to like let everyone know like I'm here. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like and that was just like the best way I feel like to build a business. It was authentic, it was real, it was grinding, it was working, all of that.
That's literally what all the top guys say that have been in the industry. Like, the first 10 years suck.
Yeah, for sure. And that was what I was gonna say too. Like the other day when we did the workout and stuff at y'all's place, I literally was on a high for like until that night. Like I like crashed. Like I was like, oh my gosh. I felt so like, I'm like, this is what I miss, because just like being here, like I'm fortunate enough to train, my clients out in the LYB, like in the sponsored home gym and stuff. But it was one of those things of like, I don't really get out that much. And so I try to, that's why I go to Carbon and try to be like, and be nice and whatever and see people and stuff like that. But like to meet up with entrepreneurs and friends, it literally is when I'm like here and they're on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like to catch up. And so that's why when Gunnar was like, you can come anytime, I'm like, does he like mean that? Like, is that like whatever? And he totally did. And I was like, okay, awesome. And going in there, I literally felt so fulfilled afterwards. And I was like, finally, like people that are like not trying to compete against me or like trying to be like whatever,
Yeah, it's nice.
It was so cool. And then Adam, he didn't have to be like, oh, you want to come like lift with us?
He's a great dude. I love Adam.
Yeah, I never met him, but it was always in passing. There was either that I couldn't go to the Strongman comp that they all were going to, or like just something was different, And but I had followed him on social media, and but I saw that he was at Gunner's place, but I didn't realize he trained there and stuff. So for him to be like, "Hey, want to come like lift with us after?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good." We show up to like this warehouse that's like. You know what I mean?
Surplus, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like to the back. I'm like, this would be a strongman place. Like this is exactly how the vibe is. There's implements here, but there's like lumber around.
Yeah, it's literally warehouse.
Yeah.
I gotta go out there soon.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah. Like, but I'm like, back in the day with strongman, that's what we did. We would go somewhere different like every 4 months.
That's so cool.
To try to like find stones, and it's like, okay, we got to go to Kentucky to get this and get the keg, and like because we didn't have the implements and stuff. So no, it was sick. I really loved it, but. Hey everyone, thank you so much for subscribing to the Love Your Body podcast on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening. I appreciate you so much for sharing these stories, listening, and just, being a part of the DDF community. If you are interested in any challenges I have coming up, the Get Your Movement In Challenge is launching here soon, so stay tuned for that, as well as online programming. Would love to work with you from all over. And you guys, I'm just so blessed and so thankful for this season of time. Please, if you get a chance to share the mission, rate the podcast, whatever you want to do, comment, let us know what you think about it. We would love the support, and we're always looking for sponsors. So if you're someone that's listening right now and you want to get your business out there as well, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. And so let us know at Danny@DannyFitness.com. When I say I was like overwhelmed, I was overwhelmed because I just had met so many people in that day that I was like, yeah, literally. And it was what was your experience with it? Like, did you just feel kind of like this is our regular thing? We're always kind of in this networking.
Oh, this past Saturday?
Yeah.
What is it that you guys did?
So
hung out, worked out.
Yeah, just hung out and worked out.
Yeah. I was like, no. I'm not jumping off program for this.
Yeah, I literally followed his program. Like I was like, yeah, I'll just jump into some bent over rows that I haven't done in like forever. That's fine. Go ahead.
I've met Jen. Jen's super cool. Yes. I was pumped. It's just cool to do that, like those things. But I don't know. I'm pretty mellow most of the time. Yeah, I'm just like, it was cool. And then I was like, carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm very like.
that's probably a character flaw for me. My wife's like, how are you not like pumped up all the time? I'm just like, I'm just not where I want to be yet. Just constantly chasing up there. So like, we'll see. That's definitely a character flaw for sure.
Okay. So you have a hard time, like, I guess, is it like feeling like is it like that you feel like you're enough, or you
no,
like what is
no, never that. It's one bodybuilding shows and I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't like the condition I brought at all. Shouldn't have really whatever. I'm just constantly chasing the next thing.
Yeah.
That I gotta sometimes pause and be like, okay, that was a cool thing that we just did.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, cool, I got it. I just feel like I should be higher, and I want it. Like I will get higher, but it's just like I think I just like the process of things. So whenever the end result happens, I'm like, okay, how do I get back on the process? Whatever.
Right, yeah.
And so.
No, I get that. I totally do. I've had to very much so like be more grounded in this season because of just everything. Because like for me, like my health is everything, and it should be for everybody else, but that's not the priority, right? And so it's like when that was taken away, or when that was like with my injury, or when any of these times have happened, I've had to like resettle, kind of like refocus, and be like, man, I just need to enjoy. Like right now, it's like, yeah, there's so many things that I want to do and still that I want to keep doing, but I'm so grateful for where I'm at right now, And that's where it's like, because again, what things moved so fast those couple of years with bodybuilding and even with strongman but it was like when my intention got negative or like got off path, that's when things started like going crazy. Like I remember being on the bathroom floor like crying after a strongman nationals because all the girls were on gear except for me and two others, and it was like me and then the two of them, like last place or whatever. And then the rest of the people were on gear. And I was just like sobbing because I'm like, I'm not enough. I can't and again, I have this successful business. I have all these things, like whatever. And it was one of those things where it's like, I have so many things to be grateful for and happy, but I just was like, you could have done better. You could have done more. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that girl was lifting more than my coaches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, like they were like, I remember Matt being like, bruh, like, no, like that's how many reps we did or whatever, it was like, it was crazy. And you're just like, man. And so I had to put it back in perspective. And it was literally like 2 months later, I was like back into it, going to crush the next comp. And it was like that next comp that I got injured. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just constantly on that.
Yes, exactly.
It's so crazy because I've said this a couple times on the podcast, but from the outside looking in on bodybuilding, you guys were talking earlier about people being disappointed, and then you obviously were bringing that up again just now. Mm-hmm. And from the outside looking in, it's so crazy of a sport because it's like, I don't know how many people compete, but let's say there's 10 of them, and you got your top 3 or whatever. It's like that the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th place people like look incredible.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you look incredible. Right. And then they come off the stage and they're like, I got 7th. I'm like,
well, that's why I feel
have
like
you looked in a mirror, dude? You look like a Greek god right now.
Well, that's why I feel like I could relate to like the bodybuilding and stuff and help those girls through it, because with strongman, I felt that. Like I literally came in like almost last and was like, after this high of, winning the title of National Strongest Woman 2019, and then winning all these other competitions, and then like doing so well at the first nationals I went to, and I was just like, again, I deeply understand what it feels like to be like, you should have done better or whatever, and I'm like, there's nothing more, reflecting back, there was nothing more that I could have done except for take steroids. Like for that season of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was incredibly strong. I was athletic. Like there wasn't like just slip ups that happened. Like, I did really well. But it's like, appreciate that that's with strongman community. Bodybuilding's small, but strongman
is even smaller.
There's
like 10 of y'all on the planet.
Literally, like it literally feels like, and that's what was so funny going over there. I was talking to people and I'm like, oh yeah, I know him because of so and so. I know like that,
It's cool.
It is so cool, and so that's where it was like, so I get that. So let me ask you this question, kind of playing devil's advocate. How, like, if you weren't doing bodybuilding, like if that wasn't your sport and whatever, would you pivot to a different sport or try to do something different, or would you just work out and be like, I'm just gonna be my healthiest? And
no, I'd compete. I mean, I'm doing a high rocks race.
Oh, okay,
in
so
March.
oh, nice, okay.
A client of mine is wanted to do it, and I was like, I'll be a partner unwillingly.
Okay. Yeah, tell them what high rocks is.
I
'cause a lot of
had
people don't
never
know.
heard of this, and it's been big in Australia and Europe,
Yeah.
and then 23 or last year just pop.
Right.
I was like, who are all these idiots running all the time?
Right,
I was like, what's
literally.
wrong with you? I was like, we're doing this again?
Yeah.
And so my client Bree, she's like, yeah, I think I want to do it, because I was like, we got to get you to do
Wait,
this.
Bree
Yeah, Bree
Melton?
Melton. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And I was like, we got to find something for you to just feel cool. Like you did something cool. You train hard all the time.
Right.
And she's like, what about this? And I was like, all right, are you going to do it? She's like, I don't know. I was like, okay, fine. I've signed us up. We're doing it. I'm gonna
No
do this
way.
I was like, we'll do this meal prep. Well, I said I signed us up.
Yeah.
For the one in Atlanta. I go to do it because I put like when you procrastinate, like low
Yeah.
frequency tasks. I was like, it should be fine. It's not going to fill up.
Did it sell out?
Oh, it filled up, and I was like, "Oh crap!" I was like, "Okay, I guess there's only one left that still has spots left, and it's a month earlier in Houston, so we're doing that this March."
Wow. Okay.
So, anyways, it's like you run. There's 8 stations running.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm in track again. So you run a kilometer. You do a station that's like I think you start with the rower for 1,000 meters, run another kilometer, another station, like sled, push, pull, carry, burpee, broad jump thing.
Yeah. Okay, is it the same every time?
It's the same race format. So from race to race, but there's only so many in the season, and I guess like I'm still looking into more on it. It's so new to me, and I'm like, I'm just going to do this thing.
Yeah.
But it's the same format
Okay.
for every race. It's just essentially like whoever can get the best time.
Okay.
Like marathons and stuff. And
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, because that's why I wasn't sure if it was like, because with Spartan races, I've done those, and it was like, you can do a sprint, a beast, a super, so there's 3 different categories, but then also no Spartan race is the exact same. So like you're gonna have different elements, different things you got to do, but like there's still that whole structure. I think it's like 10 to 15. It's like of those things, but like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, yeah, there's probably always gonna be a rope climb, but then also like I had to carry like gravel up a thing.
Yeah, that's
and
a
then,
lot
like,
harder than this for sure.
Yeah, oh, really?
Oh, Spartan race, way harder than this. For
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. This sounds
This
like
looks hard. I guarantee it's gonna be hard because the training for it blows.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I was gonna say. I produced an episode one time for a show with a woman who was like barely underneath like the world record for duos in high rocks.
Okay.
I might be butchering this, but that woman was a Terminator.
Yeah.
Like barely like it was hard to even like talk to her because she's just so
Locked.
Okay.
in on those on the because it's like one of those things where your world record is, I'm totally making this up, but 29 minutes and 37 seconds. She's right underneath you at 29 minutes and 36.4 seconds.
Yeah, that's
it's like just a little tiny difference.
It's cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So basically, you're like you would compete in whatever you can. Yeah,
because I just love training something fast. That's why I hired a coach too, because I was like getting way off track. I was like, you got to rein me in, buddy. Like,
yeah. No, for sure. So you just told him, you're like, I'm going to do this high rock thing, but I'm also going to do bodybuilding. Because explain to people too, because if the show is in May and that one's in March,
this is one
you're
of
pulling
the,
a Danny right now. Like
this is one of the, I just told him on Monday. I was like,
you never want to go
hey,
full Danny.
I'm doing this thing for a client, this is more of a business
Yes.
related thing that I know for a fact is if a client was like, I want to do this, I'm like, I would probably not.
Yeah.
It's early enough to where it shouldn't be a problem.
You'll be okay.
I should be fine.
Yeah.
But not smart. Not smart. I'm just doing this. Bree's a long-time client. I want to see her do something cool.
For sure.
It's also like a learning.
I get that. Like yes, because I've done 5Ks with my girls, or I've done a half marathon accidentally with them as well, and didn't mean to do that. So that was just ridiculous. It happens. But again, it's like, I get that. And see, my best friend, she was like, hey, would you ever run the rock and roll half again? And I was like, I don't want to.
No,
and like,
not
why
by
are you
choice,
asking
not
me
by
this?
choice, yeah.
And she was like, well, because she needs the support. She needs the accountability. She won't do it. And I'm like, and I'm not her trainer. I don't train my best friends, but I'm like, I'm just like, because then I got an email from them being like, hey, do you want to do the half? And I'm
leave me
like,
alone.
not really, but also.
The moon's in a weird place that week. It's not good. I don't want to throw off the universe, or I would totally be there.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, but I've been talking about that because, like, Matt, McQuiston, have you met him? Matt, tall, redhead, beard. He's a pro strongman as well.
No, I've not.
But he's like, he knows Adam and them really well. So anyway, but he came on the podcast and was talking, and he was like, because he used to be my trainer, and we did strongman together. So we were kind of the first two that like really started like winning stuff and doing everything back in like 2018, and and so kind of like built that community with Blake and them too. But anyway, so he said he's like, you could always start back, and I'm like. It was, like I said, it was like, okay, the equivalent is not, this is not a great, whatever, what is it? Analogy, yes, thank you. But when I was in there and saw all the strongman implements, it was like an alcoholic going into a bar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, you could do the sandbags.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna
like, I was really intern. Like, I'm like meeting everybody, talking to them, hanging out, whatever. But I'm like, okay, you could like do the sandbags, but then like don't go heavier than 100. You know what I mean? Because I was like trying, and I was like, just stick to the deadlift. And then Adam, because we're going back and forth, and he's like, do you want to go up again? I was like, I'm good, because I knew that if I got to 365, well, duh, then we got to go to 400.
Yeah. 4 is pretty close to 5.
And then, but literally, like, right?
At this point, let's just go for a PR.
My conventional PR was 425. So, in it, like, you know what I mean? So it was like, well, we could. I was like, don't do it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, like that's how my mind works, though, and that's why. So I have to like be like, yeah, don't go for broke. Like, we're not trying to hurt ourselves. But it's because, for everyone listening, that's not just because, one time. You got to understand, when I got injured in 2020. From 2020, the 3 weeks after I got injured, actually not even 3 weeks, maybe a week, I was back squatting almost 300 pounds on my back. Okay. Can't really feel my leg, but I'm like, yeah, let's still do some back squats that are heavy. Right. So like and I even did another strongman comp, like at the end of that year, like I tried to get back in it. I tried to do everything I could, and then COVID happened. So I was working with people like virtually, like how can I get my spine to stay in place? It's not like it keeps, shifting forward and anyway. And so it was just wild. Right. But I was like, I gotta figure it out. And so I just remember like going through all that, but like I would go to do some RDLs and be down for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because it would pinch that nerve or whatever. It would like move the vertebrae would shift forward, crush the disc a little bit more. And then I can't feel my leg. And it's like, I have to still be able to train. I still gotta be able to walk. Still gotta do things. So it's like, I literally had to be like, take it back. Yeah,
find something else to fill that void.
Yes, and that was like
hard
prayer and friendships and like and my family, and so I was able to do that. But what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that like as trainers, you'd probably agree that you would rather have somebody you have to pull back than push forward. Do you think?
Oh man.
Or no?
It depends on where they're at on how much of a push and how much you need to pull back.
Yeah.
Because they're so doggone different.
Yeah.
Some are just like the push forward is usually the I'm scared to get hurt thing, and like I am so big on, hey, you are not fragile. Like that drives me nuts because I think it robs people of their independence. Like in my whole in my like model ethos is like number one, like do not promote like fragility, fear. Then you have the other people. It's like, okay, the people that want to, I actually would rather have someone that I have to pull back because they at least can go to second gear. If someone is always stuck in first gear, that's kind of, it's not annoying, but it's just like.
It's hard. It's
because they're scared.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Is like whenever you have to push people forward, I'm talking about like going all in, committing, doing the pushing yourself. It's like if you're always having to tell somebody, let's try something a little heavier today. That's gotta. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking, I guess, but that's got to be a frustrating thing compared to somebody that's trying to do more than they should. Or I mean, both are not good. But
it's not frustrating. It's just a different skill set with coaching. It's just that's where like the mindset piece of it comes in, where you have to start talking to them.
Yes.
And you have to look at them not from a performance perspective and whatnot, just as a human. Mm-hmm. And you got to play some. I like the psychological games a little bit because it's a not dark, but like you can kind of manipulate people and not realize it for the betterment of their good. And that's a fun game to play because then they're like, "Oh, dude, I didn't think I could do that." And you're like, "Yes, that's why we do this thing."
Like somebody, like having somebody think that it was their idea.
Oh, all the time, all the time. They're like, yeah, I started just eating protein for breakfast. I feel, dude, great. Yeah. Don't know where you got that from. Oh my
gosh.
I'm like, that's
literally
fantastic.
Me every day in the LYB. Oh my goodness. Someone the other day was like, yeah. So I mean, I started drinking more water, and apparently if you get over this amount of ounces or whatever, like you feel like I feel so much better. And I was like,
what?
I was like, that's in the very first, like in your portal, like everything you get, like it's something right there.
There's a meme that I love for those. Have you ever seen The Boys? By chance? Okay, well, long story short, there's a meme of him sitting in a movie theater and just lights are flashing, and in the show, all it is like,
yes,
and it slowly zooms in on him.
Yeah,
like that's the kind of reaction when they tell you that.
Because, and that's the thing too is, but again, that's like with anybody though. You got to be told so many times from different people sometimes, especially when you talk about like loving your body and like loving like things like, for example, you may tell your wife, oh, you do obviously, but like you're beautiful, you're whatever, but like she may be like, oh, cool, well, he's my husband, so whatever. But then when a longtime friend comes back and tells her that she looks beautiful, she's like, oh my gosh, did you, like, I look beautiful. And like, you're like, yeah, I've been saying that every day. But she's like, but you're you. You know what I mean? It's different when you hear it. Yeah, that too. And so it's like, yeah, so it's just interesting. But yeah, no, I was looking at that High Rock stuff and I was like, it's the difference for me though about that is the whole, the having a partner. Cause I've never done anything where I've had to have a partner. I'm very solo.
It's the same. Cross country, track, wrestling, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You're not like running alongside her on a 5K. You're competing with her, right?
Yeah. So like.
So for the doubles, you actually can tag in.
Okay.
So like you do each event.
Like a relay?
It's not a relay. It's because you have to go a certain distance. You're like, hey, I'm gas. Do the next 5.
Yeah.
I'm gas. And you do, that's for the doubles. There is the single event where you do the whole thing, which I thought kind of that's what doubles was. And then I was like, how does it work? It's like, thank God.
Yeah. And so when I was reading that, I was like, I don't even know who I would like do it with. Who would do it with me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's... Dude, there's plenty of psychos out there who would do it for sure.
Right, but yeah. Like, let me put on Instagram, looking for a partner in this. Like, please come through.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, because it's like I have that competitive spirit as well, and so it's like it's very challenging for me to like hold back and not go into it, whatever. So I don't know.
See that I'd shift hard into the gaming. So.
Gaming?
Don't get me started.
Huge nerd.
Meados.
Huge nerd.
Gosh.
Let's start a whole new episode now. So what?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I cannot.
So I had a question for both of you, actually, and then you have your question to ask. So I want to make sure I leave enough time. But you guys were talking about being in the gym for 15 hours, and you were talking about doing it. You have to do that, and you were talking about doing it in Vermont, and obviously at different places. But so my question to both of you is, why? Right? Why? What is it about what you're doing that allows you to do 15 hours on your feet training somebody out? Like it's a very difficult thing mentally and physically, and mentally probably even more than physically. But when you think about 15 hours in a gym every single day, and specifically, is it the growth of the business that gives you fuel, or the difference that you're making with people?
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, 5 ladies first.
Okay, yeah. So I'll say that for me, it was all I knew to do. Like, I literally was just like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to fight for what I want before I even started fighting, for what I want for my business. Like, it was like just on my own. And it was almost like for me, I'll say it like this. Like, in the beginning, it was a chip on my shoulder because I'm in a place where they told me that like, you're not going to be successful doing this. Okay. And then it was like, I can do this. You know, I believe that I had this innate sense that like I was supposed to help people through this journey because I had gone on my journey for so many years prior alone. And I didn't want anyone to have to do that. All the mistakes I made, all the silly things I did, you know, I was like, I want to make this efficient for them. I want them to be able to jump into this, love themselves too, not feel less than, and enjoy it. And have movement be a part of their life because I think it's like the most special thing ever. Like working out is just everything. And not because of like the pump for me, you know, it's again, just being like, I'm strong, I'm capable, and I feel my most beautiful. Like those videos of us, like from lifting and whatever, like, I'm like, dang, she looked great, you know, like, and it was just so amazing. So that's what movement can do. It can change your whole mindset about things. But being in there for that long and doing that, I was the youngest. I was one of the only females out there. And then I remember having like one client for 3 months and people kind of laughing at me. It's just this old man. And we kind of just like did some PT stuff and walked around the track.
So and why didn't you stop though right there? On one of those 15, like that's the only client you have, you're busting your ass and it's 9:00 at night and you're like, hey, you got to be back in there at 6 a.m. the next day.
Yeah. Like
just never even occurred to you to stop.
There was never a time because I just looked at it as like, I'm going to get where I'm going to go.
I was literally going to ask you if that was the thought.
Yeah. Like, there was no stopping. Yeah, because once I like set my mind to something, it's like, because I'm gonna go down like fighting regardless with anything, you know. And I do think that God has a big play in that because again, He put it on my heart that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I in not one moment did I really question it, I was just kind of like, why are all of you like questioning it or Correct. Yes. So how do I pivot? What do I do? How do I be seen more? Let me put on an event. Let me do this for free. Let me work with some kids. Let me get out there. And I tried like every little thing. And then, so that's what it was for me.
Yeah, that's really similar. It's just, you just have that feeling that like I would have no clue what else I would be doing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know this is the job I want to do. And then you just know, to go back to your question, it's definitely helping people for sure.
Yeah.
Like that, it's such a cool thing to take, whether it's someone that can't sit down anymore to like sit in a chair on the beach that's super deep, or if it's taking somebody to stage and they're like, this is the best I've ever looked, they win, whatever. Like all that is just equally as cool and fulfilling. But when you're just sitting there for 15 hours, also you're like, I know that these are the steps I have to take.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it regardless because I want to be, because you're competitive.
Yeah.
I was like, I can crush all these other trainers here.
Yeah.
They were cool. They were my boys and girls.
Oh,
I was like at front of them. I was like, I'm going to crush you.
Right.
Because we have sales numbers and it's like, I'm very competitive. I also want to get, like I said earlier, I'm trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And this is the time that I have to put in to do it. Like that's not a big deal. It's not hard. I'm not scared of hard work. Every job, like I want to be known for the dude that works extremely hard, and this is just part of it, but intelligently too. But it wasn't even an afterthought. I was like, I just know I have to do this because this is how you get clients. It was just, I was like, this is just the game. I was like, this is the step you have to do.
Well, and I'm so like goal oriented. Like I love like just, and so for me, like what it was there and how the platform was set up was that they were like there's always this guy, the oldest one there, had been there forever. He would always get the most sales for for personal training. So for the men, and then the female, like it was just actually overall, it was just for male or female. And he would always get it every month. And I just look at it and I'm like, I'm coming. Yeah.
I'm coming
and he's great. He supports my Instagram. You know, he does all my stuff, whatever. And is always like, go D, you know. And anyway, so there's no ill will towards him, but it was just like, I'm like, okay, he's been here the longest. He's the oldest. He's a man. He's whatever. And I was like, come through. So for me, it took me, it was not even, I don't think 9 months, but like from that one client to then making the most that they had ever had, you know what I mean? Yeah. And becoming like the top salesperson. And at that moment I was like, I can go do this on my own. That's when I knew.
I think, and you said it too, like it's cool. The God piece is definitely a thing. You know, there's just some things you just can't describe. Like why I've known for forever that I'm doing this.
Yeah. I'm
just going to go. Like, there's just feelings you can't describe that.
Yeah, and like you talked about with your wife about the whole easy thing. Like, truthfully, like, I know it sounds like to you, you're like, wow, like the 15 hours, like, all this was hard. But to me, it still was like easy. Like it was like, this is what I'm doing it. Like, and any chance I got to do anything cool or like, go to conventions, go to expos, whatever, now speaking at those things, like now, doing workouts with like really cool people, like being around, it's just like, it just makes me feel just so like I'm being used in the right way, if that makes sense.
It's like that saying we've all heard a million times: if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, and that's
like that.
And that's the thing too. It's like, yes, and for everyone listening, if they're like, "Man, I really want to go out on my own and be an entrepreneur, I want to do whatever," it's like we're not saying it's not hard work.
You're exhausted all the time.
You're exhausted all the time. I mean, there's so many things. You're if you don't manage it well, you're on edge all the time because you're like, I got to be here, I got to do this, whatever, And but it's like, again,
the point is to find something that you love so much that part doesn't matter.
Right. Or that, again, it's not even that it doesn't matter. It's that you can excel in it.
Yeah.
Like you can like operate. Like I literally operate so well in that chaos that like, it's just how it is. So, and we were talking about that, like at that workout and stuff. Cause it's like, yeah, there's certain things that are annoying or certain things that happen, whatever. But like me just helping people, like I really truly feel like I help them change their life. Like, because the girls that I empower then become stronger mentally, physically. Then they don't let certain men walk all over them. Then they get out of bad relationships. Then they then they go for the top position at their job. Then they go for it. Like, it's such a ripple effect. Like a lot of like the cards I have up there are clients that are like now getting married because they felt confident enough to put themselves back out there. Like, or that are getting married and now they're having kids and stuff. And it's because they also like had a healthy pregnancy because they got fit beforehand, like
better friend, better sister.
It's literally
better
changing the way people look. And that's how I feel with like loving your body. It's like, people tell you all day long, oh, society will always be how it is and we can't do this. But at the end of the day, it's like when you have people start to believe in themselves and like stop comparing and stop, all of that, like that's contagious. And then people are like, man, like if she can love her body, like, like we all should be able, like, let's do it. Like, let's start doing it. And like, but you have to have those people start that. You have to have those people who say those things, like, and set the example. And so with that, Collin, I ask everybody this question: what is something that you love about your body?
That's actually such a funny question. I never thought about it.
Right? A lot of guys don't.
Clip that.
It's not fragile, actually. That it can do real. I was a small little kid, so to not be that little wimpy dude, like I like being jacked. It's great. That's exactly what I like. I like being jacked. Like it's freaking best and strong. Like it is really cool. There's no better feeling than that because that has changed my life completely. So the confidence. Being jacked is best. Yeah. If there's one thing we take away from this whole thing, being jacked is awesome, and not being jacked is not awesome. So
it's pretty simple. I love that. I do want to ask real quick, when you said that you were fragile, like kid and everything like that, was it just you were just?
I was a string bean, and then when I did start getting into fitness, I was scared to death that it was going to get taken away from me. Because of the confidence I got from it. I was like, oh, if I can't work out or if I lose this, then I don't know who I am anymore. And then I was really scared to get injured. And I did get injured, funny enough, and ended up, I don't know if you know the Barbell Medicine Group. They're great. Okay. They go into like biopsychosocial model pain, whatever, but there's this lecture that was just like, don't catastrophize things. Like more than likely, you're probably not actually hurt. And I was like, what? Yeah. And I just went into it and I was like, oh my Lord. And then now it's just, I've gotten injured a handful of times, whatever. And I'm like, this is a learning opportunity. This is cool.
Yeah. And it's about mindset, right? It goes back to that because you could literally be like, oh, I'm done. I can't do anything, or I got to quit or whatever, right? And it's like, no, that's not, we pivot and we figure it out. Yeah. Like I literally made 3 PT exercises and a walk, my regimen for like a year.
Do you take that like it's your job when you're hurt?
I did. Yeah. And so it was like when people were like, oh, do you work out? And I was like, like that was all I was doing, but like that's all I physically could do, and started over with body weight. Like it's just like I think what so many people in the fitness industry and world forget is that like most of the time the things that you're dealing with are not permanent, and if they are, like with my eye and stuff or whatever, like it's like I still believe in our bodies. I still believe amazing things can happen, miracles can happen, but like also they adapt
a lot.
Yeah, and at different ages, and there's different things that happen too. So like, you know, but if you say every day and you wake up, my knee, I got that bum knee, it's like, then you have that bum knee. Like, and say they're not loving yourself. It's like, if you don't let, you know, if you tell yourself every day, you look in the mirror, like, I hate myself. Okay, there we are. You know what I mean? It's never any better.
Is so big.
Yeah. And so I love that you said that about the whole, like, not feeling fragile and stuff like that, because it's, again, it takes it to a deeper meaning also, because so many people could look at you and be like, oh man, like he probably loves his legs or his jacked shoulders or whatever. But you're like, it's so much more than that. There's the reason behind.
My life is the way that it is because of training.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, I mean, it would not exist.
Yeah.
Without it.
I love that. That's awesome. It's nice to meet, you know, another passionate.
Oh, it's my favorite. I love it because there's not so many of us.
Right. And I talked about that at the workout and stuff. And so it was nice to feel kind of validated in that you guys also don't feel like there's a lot, like in the fitness community, you know, like.
It's a small group.
Yeah. But, you know, it's awesome though. So I'm glad that, you know, it was so nice to meet you, and it was great. I'm glad I slid into Gunner's DMs and was able to get him on the podcast. And, and then, right, like it all worked out really well. So, but thank you so much, Collin, for coming on.
Yeah,
this was
thanks
awesome.
for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks. Oh, until next time.